say the suite at the Willard Hotel. That's what I'm going to stop.
Yeah, the cash is right.
And then keep the video on with no sound. Okay, perfect. Michael's down there.
Allison's not running everyone's shot. Caroline walked on 30 yards. Yeah, there.
Hey Brian, yeah, live in the Rose Garden here where the president is going to party, gobble, and waddle. In a matter of minutes here, they were treated like stars. They actually arrived a few days ago in D.C. They went to the Willard Hotel and got a suite there. Well, you see about an hour ago. Yeah, you see about an hour ago, that's where they were walking around the West Wing and even wandered into the briefing room. Now, neither of them answered any questions there. So the White House touting them as the American Farm Bureau is saying the cost of Thanksgiving dinner is down 5% this year because Fox News polling shows 85% of registered voters believe that grocery prices are higher from a year ago. 78% say utilities are higher, and 66% say housing is higher. Those are perceptions that Democrats want to capitalize on. However, retail sales are up, as you know, and the White House is touting prices are coming down, along with energy and gas prices as folks are driving for this holiday season. But again, we got the retail sales, not quite at 2 expectations, but still, people are spending 4.4% year over year. The consumer confidence number is still very strong at 88.7% or 88.7, but down a little bit. But again, this White House is saying that better things are to come in the next year. They believe that Americans will notice the affordability difference starting in the first quarter of next year. That's what they're counting on here at the White House as they're trying to get some prices down. Yeah, we're switching. Yeah. I'm going out the street now. Yeah, I don't know.
Folks here at the White House say this is the most transparent administration in history, and that apparently also applies to the public shopping as the news cycle turns from seditious to delicious.
We've had family in town before.
Kind of a tough room in there, tough turkey. kind of a tough room in there. Tough turkeys. We are now in the midst of big food holidays. We know how President Trump feels about fish.
One was created, one was well, the voters will.
And we know how the president feels about red meat. But what about turkeys?
So surprised. Controversial one in history.
Tough on turkey.
Richard Nixon, Patty Hearst, Wago, all got presidential pardons, but none of them got to stay at the fancy Willard Hotel across the street the night before their presidential pardon, like Waddle and Gallup.
Head after.
People are running children.
There's Jerry Vance.
The most famous pardon for the last president, most of the Biden family, didn't come until his last day in office. Maybe Hunter Biden was more of a black sheep, because these turkeys only had to wait 10 months into the president's term. The most famous pardons from the last administration, most of the Biden family, didn't come until the last hours of his last day in office. Maybe Hunter Biden was more of a black sheep, because these turkeys only had to wait 10 months for President Trump's term.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States and First Lady Melania Trump.
Thank you very much, and I hope you like our new beautiful patio with matching stone to the White House. If this were grass today, you'd be sinking into the mud like they've done for many years, and you would be very unhappy. Please, thank you very much. This was a big day. It's a pardon day for a very important beast. On behalf of the First Lady and the entire Trump family, I want to wish all Americans a very, very happy Thanksgiving. It's a great time of the year, and our country is doing really well, economically, like we've never done before. Today, we continue a time-honored American tradition. Well, that's a well-trained turkey. See how happy he is? In a few moments, I will grant a full, absolute, and unconditional presidential pardon to two handsome Thanksgiving turkeys, and this is their lucky day. This is a lucky day for them. But before going any further, I want to make an important announcement, because you remember last year, after a thorough and very rigorous investigation by Pam Bondi and all of the people at the Department of Justice, the FBI, the CIA, the White House Counsel's Office, and the Department of Everything. We have a Department of Everything. You know what that is? I think that's called the White House. Into a terrible situation caused by a man named Sleepy Joe Biden. He used an auto pen last year for the turkey's pardon. So I have the official duty to determine, and I have determined, that last year's turkey pardons are totally invalid. As are the pardons of about every other person that was pardoned, other than, where's Hunter? No, Hunter's was good. That was the one pardon, Pam, that was good, right? The rest of them are all invalid. I don't know what the hell you're going to do about that, but that's, now we're going to take a little of the joking. That is a mess. But they're hereby null and void. The turkeys known as Peach and Blossom last year have been located, and they were on their way to be processed, in other words, to be killed. But I've stopped that journey, and I am officially pardoning them, and they will not be served for Thanksgiving dinner. We saved them in the nick of time. This one has plenty of time, but they were saved in the nick of time. We're thrilled to be joined today by Vice President J.D. Vance, Second Lady Usha Vance, their daughter Mirabelle, and along with Attorney General Pam Bondi, Secretaries Marco Rubio, Scott Bassett, Pete Hegseth, Brooke Rollins, Howard Lutnick, Linda McMahon, Scott Turner, Administrator Lee Zeldin, who's done a great job. A nuclear power plant gets approved in less than a week. Okay? I'm only kidding, but pretty close to that. And we have more. Where's Lee? Stand up, Lee. One of my great superstars. Thank you. It used to take 20 years before you got rejected when you put in an application. Now we're doing them in a matter of weeks, right? And that's why we have the biggest plants anywhere in the world. We're leading in AI. We're leading in everything. Our auto plants are pouring back into our country. Where do you see the jobs coming with them? But many of them are under construction, but Lee's done a great job in getting those approvals. I appreciate it very much. FBI Director Kash Patel has been very busy doing a great job. Also, thank you, Kash. Along with members of, see, you got a follower, Kash. Along with members of Congress, and in particular, I want to mention Jason Smith and David Rozier. Where are those two guys? Come on, stand up, fellas. What good people. Jason knows more about the tax code than any living human being. He knows so much, we don't even want to hear about it, right? Too complicated. We're going to make it a simpler code. But we did in the great big beautiful bill. It was just passed. Your imprints all over that, and it's amazing. The biggest tax cuts in the history of our country for middle-income people. The biggest tax cuts in the history of our country for middle-income people, and the biggest jobs bill ever passed. And nobody thought we could get that one done. I'm glad. And we actually put 4 years, actually probably 8 or 10 years, but we put 4 years worth of material into one great, big, beautiful bill. So that worked out very well, and I want to thank everybody for working on it. JD, that was a great, we were going to do it in small bills. We're going to have 18 bills and do it along the process. I'm glad, Scott, that we got it done, because dealing with these Democrats, I think that's all one shot. But we have it all in one great, big, beautiful bill. Thanks as well to the chairman of the National Turkey Federation and the CEO of Butterball. That's a big deal. Jay Jandren. Where's Jay? Thank you. Stand up, Jay. Thank you very much. Along with his wife, Leslie, and their 3 children, as well as the farmer who raised these 2 magnificent birds, Travis Pittman, and Wayne County, North Carolina. I won Wayne County by a lot. That means you had to vote for Trump, I think. I won by 92%. I like Wayne County. They're doing all right, right? And this is like a record-setting turkey that's going to be saved. The turkeys being pardoned today go by the names of Gobble and Waddle. When I first saw their pictures, I thought we should send them, well, I shouldn't say this. I was going to call them Chuck and Nancy. But then I realized I wouldn't be pardoning them. I would never pardon those 2 people. I wouldn't pardon them. I wouldn't care what Melania told me. Darling, I think it would be a nice thing to do. I won't do it, darling. These are 2 of the largest turkeys ever presented to an American president, over 50 pounds each. It's the largest we've ever had. And those are big turkeys. Are they as good as the normal-sized turkey? Better or as good? Do they tend to be a little fatty, maybe? No, he said no. He knows the turkey business. Anyway, despite their size, Secretary Kennedy has formally certified that these are the first ever Maha turkeys. I don't know if I agree with that. These are Maha. In other words, they could be fat, but they're still Maha. They've been fattened on a steady diet of grass, beef, to allow the smoothies and all of the other things that they've been eating for this occasion. This was a really big occasion. But they've eaten every fattening food that you can eat. We wanted to really make them special, and they really are. They're like record-setting. I've never seen a turkey that big before. Are they violent at all? Will they attack as I walk over? Because if they were, I'll stay right up here. But as you know, we're a tough on crime administration. We are tough on crime. You know, our border had 0 people coming in for the last 7 months, right? 0. I mean, even I find that hard to believe to be. They had millions and millions of people pour into our border from prisons, from mental institutions, gang members, drug dealers. They poured in to our country like we were stupid people. We're not stupid people anymore. But nobody's ever seen anything. The job that they've done on the Tom Holman, Christy Nome, the whole group, the job they've done on the border is almost like a miracle. We have, and the people that make these statistics have said 0. They've said 0 for the last 7 months. I can't, it has to be like a few people got in, but they say 0. And they're radical left Democrats to do the scoring. So I can't imagine they did that for us. The truth is, we have no people coming into our country illegally. It's an amazing statistic, and I'm very proud of it. And we have the most people working in the United States today, by far, than we ever had in the history of our country. So those are all good numbers. But instead of pardon, some of my more enthusiastic staffers were already drafting the paperwork to ship Gobble and Waddle straight to the terrorist confinement center in El Salvador. And even those birds don't want to be there. You know what I mean? It was a tough. I'd like to thank the president of that country. They do a rather efficient job. It's going to be the largest prison in history. I've never seen anything like it. And a lot of people are behaving on our streets now. You know, Washington, D.C. is considered a safe zone. This was one of our most unsafe places anywhere in the United States. It is now considered a totally safe city. I won't tell you about murders. We're having murders, like a lot of murders, on a weekly basis. We haven't had a murder in 6 months. And it doesn't sound good even to say that. We haven't had a murder in 6 months. But when you are averaging 1 and even sometimes 2 a week, and you haven't had 1 in 6 months, you can walk with your family down the middle of any street, go to a restaurant, you won't get in. They're opening new restaurants all over, and it's really been a beautiful thing to see. So Washington, D.C. is now a totally safe city, and a year ago it was a criminal mess. We removed, Pam, 1,700 people, career criminals, and people that came to this city from Venezuela and many other places. They were let out of prisons and they came here. There were Tren de Aragua, a lot of Tren de Aragua, that's from Venezuela. And we got them all the hell out of our country, or they're in prisons now. And you can walk down any street in Washington and you're going to be just fine. And I want to thank the National Guard. I want to thank Pete Hegseth. The job you've done here is incredible. And I hear you having the same kind of success in Memphis, Tennessee. We had an even worse situation. And Memphis crime is down 64% in 3 weeks. And by the time you have 4 or 5 weeks, you can have it down almost where there won't be crime. And we could do that in Chicago, by the way, if they would let us. If the mayor was a low IQ person, but he should understand this is a very serious thing. You saw all the crime that took place last night, the night before. The woman with the burning, they burned the woman. They'll be talking about that now. They burned this beautiful woman riding in a train. A man was arrested 72 times. 72 times, think of that. And they'll let him out again. The liberal judges will let him out again. But we're ready to go. You know, we've been moving toward Chicago. We have a governor that thinks it's wonderful that only like 7 people were killed this week. But we are moving toward doing it. We're gonna, if crime gets, it's horrible what's happening in Chicago. We can make Chicago a safe city in a period of 4 weeks. In a period of 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, it would be totally safe. And the people of Chicago want us to go there. And if you look at the crime that's taken place in Chicago in the last 2 weeks, just take a look. It's on the front page of every newspaper. It's out of control. The mayor is incompetent, and the governor is a big fat slob. He ought to invite us in, say, please make Chicago safe. We're going to lose a great city if we don't do it quickly. Make Chicago will do the same thing as we did in D.C., the same thing as we did everywhere we've gone. It's become almost instantly safe. And I want to do it in Chicago. So Governor Pritzker, if you're listening, let's get your act together. Invite us in. We're going to make your place so safe. You're not going to have these crimes that are making the newspapers and the front page of every newspaper and television story, news story. We'll make Chicago a safe place very quickly. I looked at the various cases, granting mercy, discovering that the terrible trauma that everyone's going through. And I had a little bit of a Pritzker joke. I was going to talk about Pritzker in size, but when I talk about Pritzker, I get angry because he's not letting us do the job. So I'm not going to tell my Pritzker joke. They have a very cute little joke, you know. Some speechwriter wrote some joke about his weight. But I would never want to talk about his weight. I don't talk about people being fat. I refuse to talk about the fact that he's a fat slob. I don't mention it. On a more serious note, as we gather around the dinner table, I'd like to lose a few pounds too, by the way. And I'm not going to lose it on Thanksgiving, I can tell you that. Because I'm going to have a turkey, but it's not going to be that one. I hope all Americans will have the chance to enjoy the fellowship of family and friends and renew our faith in God's providence. 1 year ago, we were a dead country 1 year ago. The King of Saudi Arabia said it to me. He said it to me actually 4 months ago when I was in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. He said, you know, 1 year ago, the United States was a dead country, and now you've got the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're the hottest country. We have $18 trillion being invested as of now. We're not even close to being 1 year. The most ever was $2 trillion for a certain country I won't name during the last administration. In 4 years, they had less than $1 trillion being invested in the country. In 9 months, we have over $18 trillion. It's a number that nobody has ever even thought possible. And that's in building plants and building so many things, investments in our country. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. But we have more people working. We have more people praying. The churches are coming back. I don't know if you've been reading that story, but religion is coming back to America. Some people say, oh, why would you mention that? To me, that's a big deal. And this Thanksgiving, we're also making incredible strides to make America affordable again. Walmart announced that the cost of their standard Thanksgiving meal is 25% lower than just 1 year ago. That's a big deal. According to the USDA, the price of Thanksgiving turkey is down 33% from its Biden era highs. Potatoes are down 13%. Ham is down 15% compared to last Thanksgiving. So we are down to a level that we haven't seen in a long time. Egg prices are down 86% since March, and gasoline will soon be hovering around $2 a gallon. Under our leadership, we passed the largest tax cuts in history, the largest spending cuts in history, the largest regulation cuts in history, and we have fully secured our southern border. I've also ended 8 wars in 9 months, and we're working on that final war. It's not easy, but I don't know. I think we're going to get there. 25,000 soldiers, Ukraine, Russia. In the last month, 25,000 soldiers have died. So I think we're getting very close to a deal. We'll find out. I thought that one would have been gone quicker. We did 8. I thought that would have been an easier one, but I think we're making progress. In less than 1 year, we've accomplished more than most other administrations have accomplished in 8 years. And this is a very special Thanksgiving. We thank God for His many blessings and the great success that this country has seen in this short period of time. We draw strength from the love of family and friends, and we express our undying gratitude for the men and the women of the United States Armed Forces. We love them. We pray that peace and prosperity will continue to bless our land, and together we'll really just keep this great drive going to make America great again. MAGA, I think it's the greatest expression in the history of politics. Make America great again. So once again, Melania, thank you for doing such a great job and being such a great First Lady. And now let's go and give gobble, waddle, Waddles, by the way, is missing in action, but that's okay. We'll pretend Waddles is here. The gift that they've been waiting for. And I'll move over and I will just say very nicely, Gobble your pardon. Come on, let's say it in front of Gobble. Thank you very much, everybody.